Good evening, everyone. My name is Tasha Smutney. I am a double gold consultant and a three-time IATAN card holder. And this whole week, we're focusing on multiple destinations, but we wanted to do a training specifically on Orlando because a lot of clients request to go to multiple places, whether it's, they want to do both Disney and Universal in the same trip. They want to do one of those plus other things in the area. Maybe they want to do that before going on a cruise or after. There's a lot of combinations that clients ask for. And a lot of agents get confused on how to book more than one thing for their clients or how to package it together. So we're going to take a look at the options, different ways we can book the same things, and just different things available. All right. So the major attractions right in that Orlando area, of course, we have Disney World and we have Universal Orlando. We also have SeaWorld in conjunction with Discovery Cove. There's also International Drive, which has multiple attractions all in and of itself. It has Icon Park. It has, things like, oh, my brain just, Wonderworks, all kinds of shopping. There's different things there and multiple hotels there as well. And then also Gatorland is another theme park. There's other lots of small things as well, but these are kind of the major things when people think Orlando. All right. We can also combine it with if they want to go, about an hour away. Some people visit Orlando and then they go towards the coast to go to Kennedy Space Center. All things that people can combine into an Orlando vacation, right? So the most commonly asked for combination is putting Disney and Universal together. There's a giant typo there. Let me fix that. That is the most common combination that I get from clients or that agents ask me for help with. So let's take a look at that first. All right. There are multiple ways that we could do that. I forgot that I changed the order of my slides. Disney and Universal can also be combined, as I said, with other Orlando attractions. So how do we book this? Now you can book it as a package on Vax. I actually put together a Universal Disney trip on Vax prepared for you to see. I will tell you it was more expensive than doing it separately with Vax for flights and Orlando and Disney portion on the Disney website. I did not look yet Evo Plus. We can sometimes find the resort hotels there as well, and RoomRes and Expedia Tap. Now, we can book on property or off for both of these. I'm usually team on property. I'm going to be 100% transparent. But here's what I kind of put together as this initial itinerary. I did not include other than Disney and Universal, but I will show you how we could. All right, so I priced this from my area here in Massachusetts, but actually from an airport in New Hampshire because it is easier to fly in and out of. So this is for November. I included the week of Veterans Day so they didn't have to pull the kids out as much. This is for 2 adults and 2 children, both under the age of 10. It does include travel protection plus full credit when we book this through Vax. So my flights are on United. There were no direct flights, either Boston or to Manchester, New Hampshire for these dates, and I'm not sure why. And nothing Southwest Air even popped up, and usually that's a popular airline for this route. But this is what I have. They're still arriving fairly early. This is a 10-day trip. They don't need to rush to the parks the day they get there, right? So I did 5 nights at Walt Disney World in a Cars Suite and Art of Animation, 4-day park hopper tickets. Because of where they're staying, they have Skyliner access early park entry. And then they moved to Universal. I did price a hotel that gives unlimited express pass for Universal and Islands of Adventure. So the Royal Pacific, even though that's not typically the least expensive deluxe, this was. And I did price the Jurassic Kids Suite. These are higher priced options. Admittedly, they are higher priced options. We can absolutely go less, but just so that I could compare. And we added the 2-day, 2-park park to park. So that gives them 2 days for Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, and then their 1 day at Epic Universe. And then their flights home, leaving late afternoon. On Vax, it came up as 17,794. When I priced it separately, I did the flights and Universal on Vax, and I did Disney hotel and tickets. It was about $400, no, about $200 less. Not a huge difference, but a difference. Um, but I also believe I would get higher commission this way as well. Okay. So a little bit less for the client and a little bit more for the commission. Because if we look, I have them both saved if Vax didn't close on me. Please don't close. All right. So I was also looking up how we can add in tickets. So here's my first one, which had, why does that look like it doesn't have everything in it? Let me pull up that itinerary. All right, so here's the first one where I put everything in Vax, and I'll show you how you can do this, right? But if we look at the commission, so my commission here is 1339 or 1399, so just under 1400. If we did Disney on its own plus Universal on its own, which is a tiny bit cheaper for the client, right? I've got 565 and itinerary 2. So this is 1113 plus 500 more. This gives me 1600 in commission doing them separately. All right. Another thing to note when booking Disney in Vax, there are things I cannot include for my clients. Now, the major one, everybody can add Memory Maker on their app if we don't add it ahead of time. But the major one that we can't add when booking Disney through another platform is the dining package. So if you have a family who wants that dining package, you have to book it directly through Disney. Has to be a resort and theme park stay package. So there's that to know. So I did price that comparing it. It saves the client a tiny bit of money, about $200, but it only, not only that, it gave higher commission. So while it might seem, oh, it's so much easier just to use one vendor or supplier, that's not always the case. And I find that when there's multiple components, multiple destinations, that's the biggest hurdle that agents who don't book multiple destinations face. They feel like they want to put it in one pretty little package for the client. The client doesn't care if there's multiple charges on their card as long as they know which one's paying for what. We can make our own packages just separately. Yeah, so booking Disney directly from the agent's portal was less money in this case overall than putting it all together in Vax. And the commission was about $200 more. Or about, yeah, about two, maybe 250 more. Okay. This is one of the reasons we tell agents shop the vendors because you really don't know. Okay. You don't know. I'm going to be honest, I don't typically book in Vax Disney at all. I've never booked it there. I actually didn't even realize I could until within the last month. I thought, oh, I could book it there if they're staying off site, but I didn't know you could book it all in one. Let me show you how I did do it because sometimes it might work out the other way. It might work out that it's less money on Vax, right? So we want to go to multiple destination no matter what we're doing, right? So let's say, I will tell you this, you can't do hotel only for multiple destination. You have to include the flight, right? I might also, if I'm doing Disney on one and Universal on Vax, I might also check that the flights aren't better priced direct with the airline as well. because we're not getting commission on the flight anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we have flight and multi-stop. Apple and FunJet are going to be the same, but I just prefer how FunJet displays stuff. It's a preference. Two adults, two children. I had them as like 5 and 7, I think. So here's what we're going to do. They're leaving from, let's just say Boston, because that's where I am. We could do any dates. Maybe we want to do Christmas. Maybe they're doing a long trip over Christmas. They want to leave the day after Christmas, and they're going to Orlando. And what I did is I searched. So maybe they want to do Universal, and they want to do, you know, 4 nights there. Now I can choose. I'm having a flight there. We have to have a flight for the first destination and the last destination. They need a hotel. They don't need the rental car right now. All right, so now it tells me they're gonna go to the second destination on the 30th of December. Do you guys need me to zoom into that? If I zoom in, is it better? A little bit. So let's say now they're gonna go to Walt Disney World, Florida. It pops right up, right? I typically do the one that says WDW because that's Walt Disney World. They don't need a flight, they just need the hotel. And they're gonna stay there for 5 nights. Okay. Now I can click add another destination. It defaults to only 2. So let's say now they're gonna go, that's not what I put. Let's say they want to now combine this and they want to go to the coast. They want to go to, it might not pop up. I'm gonna do the city that I know is right by the Space Center, Titusville, Florida. They don't need a flight, they need a hotel, and now they need a rental car because they're gonna drive there. Okay. I can put it all together this way, and then I'm going to show you how I could put it together not this way. And then they're going to fly back on January 7th. They're going to spend 3 nights in that area. Okay. So they've got a 9, 10, 11, 12 night trip. And then I can just click search. I'm going to assume it's going to fly them back out of Orlando, but we'll see what happens. This I did not test ahead of time, but I wanted you to see how I could put together multiple things right here. Because there are families, and maybe they're not doing Disney and Universal, but just so you could see both. There are families that like to do that, or they like to then go to that area and, oh, it's the air. Something I did wrong with air. I did this before and I didn't take it off. Um, Hotel and rental car. Maybe I need to add. I might need to have them go back to Orlando for 0 nights. Because there's not an airport there is probably part of the reason. 0 nights, Orlando. They don't need a hotel. They don't need the rental car. They just need the flight because they're going to return the rental car there probably. And then fly back to Boston. And as I said, sometimes multiple destination in one vendor is more of a headache and not what's in the best interest of the client. But it's good to see the different ways we can do it, right? We'll see if it works. My guess is it's because they weren't in Orlando by a hotel or by an airport. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. All right, so let's just take out that last one. Remove destination. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. Universal, Orlando, remove destination. So they don't need a flight between the two, right? And there should be flights. That shouldn't be an issue right now. I was just wondering if I was too far out. But we're 6 months out. We should be good. So these weren't the dates I tested earlier, so that might be part of the problem. But we'll see what happens. Vax could just be being fickle. This is a good sign. It's reloading up here. There we go. All right. So for some reason, there's no nonstop flights from this area to Orlando, which is just weird. There usually is. All right. I would probably put them on this option because it's still a 2 hour layover instead of three. The second flight's just different. And I might at this point also probably look and see, oh, should I book direct with the airline? Let me actually look. We've got 26th to January 4th. Because now I'm curious why there wouldn't be any nonstop flights. Two adults, two children. Oops. No, go back. MCO, December 26th to January 4th. That's why that's the Sunday. That's why there's a lot, they're going to be high. So now let me check. Nonstop only. There are definitely nonstop flights. They're not good times, but there are nonstop flights. They're just really expensive to go in the morning. So what they might want to do is go at night on Christmas Day and take the late flight because that would be better significantly. It's like half the price. Put those kids right in the jammies Christmas night, sleep on the plane, tuck them in at the hotel when you get there, right? So I would not fly out of there that early in the morning if I didn't have to, because you really need to be at Orlando minimum 2 hours, if not three, ahead of time. So I don't like, let's see how late I can go without going over that price range. We'll do night. All right. So in this case, I might not do flights and I would probably do Universal here and Disney on the other, just because they're not going to want with little ones, they're not going to want flights with a stop. I've had enough people fly with little ones that they say nonstop only. But just for purposes of seeing what we put together. Then what it has me do is it kind of already selected an option for me, but I can come in and switch what I want for the hotel. Just clicking hotels. I mean, Cabana Bay's all right, but I like to, if we can, get them the free express passes. Now I don't have to do a suite. We can keep that price down significantly. Um, so we want something that includes express passes. So Royal Pacific, Portofino Bay, and Hard Rock. Oh, 10-9 and 10-6. So this one's going to be less. Now, as you can see, I've got lots of price points. If I put them in that suite, it's 5 grand more. So, I mean, we don't have to do the suite, but we can just do. I like to make sure I don't take an accessible room if I don't need it. See how they're all the two queens are the same price. So we'll go with, the two queen standard room. Now, if I want to add my features, I can do it here. And there's different ways you can book Universal on here. So I'm going to come down and look for the tickets. Two park, park to park, plus 1 day Epic. I want to change to 2 day. And then we can have it start on whatever day, right? And then I just click add to cart. I wait when I do multiple destination to add the travel credit at the end, so it's on everything, not just on this component. Then as I scroll down, it'll tell me destination two. We can switch the hotel. Walt Disney World Dolphin is technically not a Disney hotel. It's a Marriott. It has a resort fee at night. It does get the Disney perks, but not, it's a, it's not, it wouldn't be my choice for a family. We'll put it that way. All right, let's see. I had done the art of animation in a suite, which significantly increases it, but they don't necessarily need that. Let's look. But see, all the Disney resorts are on here. I was trying to see. Caribbean Beach versus maybe we'll do Pop. It's not that much more for Caribbean Beach, to be perfectly honest. We'll go here. They don't need the fifth sleeper, so let's see what rooms are available. It looks like I'll just do this one. And then again, I can add my tickets on here as well. This is again not the typical way I do Disney and Universal, but I want to make sure people know different options. Because now that I do know I can do it this way, if my clients they don't want the meal plan, I will compare and make sure. All right, so Walt Disney World theme park ticket with Hopper. So they can go from park to park. I choose how many days, and I choose the date it starts on. Now, if we start it on their very first day, it'll go through all of it, even though it's 4 days. Because I think a 4 day is good for within a 7 day period. Little tip for booking lightning lanes. If you book their check-in day as their first day of tickets, even if they don't go to the park that day, they get a jump on booking lightning lanes. Because it's 7 days out from your arrival date of your ticket. All right. So now I go to checkout. When I did this before, the only transportation was round trip to Disney World area from the airport, so that wouldn't help them with Universal. So that's why I didn't add it before. If they were doing just Universal, we could absolutely do the super shuttle that they have. That's a good deal for just a Universal trip. Or sometimes it'll let you do just one way on the Universal. All right, so now we have a total without trip protection. Let's get the trip protection in there. So see, the Mears Connect is just round trip to Disney area hotels, which Disney is not right next to Universal. Let me just double check, because last time I clicked all, that's the only one that showed up. Yeah, that's the only one they're offering. So that's not what we want. And honestly, an Uber is going to cost them way less than $124 round trip. We had the travel protection. So the good thing is this covers everything we book through Vax, whereas if we book stuff separate, it might not. And that's when we want to do something like give them our tin leg link so that they can book it. All right. So again, even without those, this is a more expensive week, is why it's more money than or about the same as the other one. Right? So that's how you could look to put it all together if you wanted to. Okay. So let's look at other ways to book something. So let's say my clients want to do, maybe they're going on a cruise and they're going to fly home out of Orlando. So they want to do 5 days at Disney after their cruise. So let's say this is their Disney package, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up Evo Plus because it is curious to see. Now, remember, if you're doing Evo Plus, anyone who's maybe new here, Evo Plus has no commission built in. And since there's no commission built in, you have to add a fee. Please do not cheat yourself out of money. But so that you know, if I search Orlando, let's look at those November dates just to be curious. It was the 8th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the 13th. And this was 2 adults and 2 kids. Evo Plus doesn't let you do Evo Plus, anything over 12 they consider an adult, which is what most hotels do anyway, but we can't add any, tickets or anything on here, but you can add tickets alone on backs as well. So now if I want to look, I come up and I search Universal. And we were at, so that's not coming up, the Portofino, but let's look hard. It did have Hard Rock pop up. So let's just, because that one we know has express passes included. So it's not coming up for those dates. Oh, wait, here it is. All right, so this is saying hotel only, $5,073, but 3,933, a savings of 1,140. So potentially you could do like a $550 fee for instant commission. Let's just look and see, just to compare just the hotel on backs. So I'm going to go into Universal and I'm going to do the create your own because I can just take the tickets off to compare. 4 and 7, or we can see the price of the tickets to do some math, right? This is November 8th to 13th. So when you book directly with Universal, you cannot add flights. But when you book through something else like FunJet, you can do flights with Universal. All right, so we have Hard Rock Hotel. And let's just make sure we're doing the same kind of room. Where's the rooms? Oh, it's probably because I didn't click book. I just clicked the name of the hotel. Book. Here we go. So no matter, even if it's a one destination trip, you do want to shop the vendors, right? But even more so with a multi-destination, we want to be putting together the best package we can for our clients. All right. So this we have them in a standard two queen. And we can see, like when we go into all of these, we can see the pricing, but let's see what. Come on, Evo Plus. Room. It's because I'm trying to show other people, isn't it? Well, either way, it said the room itself was under $4,000. So let's take a look at the comparison, right? So this total trip is costing 7,244. Let's just remove everything and see what the price is. Remove to compare, because sometimes it is the same, sometimes it is not. Like this is not saying 5,000 when we take out everything that's as cost. So this is saying 4381 and this is saying 3932. So it is still a savings of, let me do some math. What did I say? 4381. So it's still a savings of $400, but I wouldn't do more than a $200 booking fee. So you're probably getting more money the other way and you're not saving them a ton. So it depends. It depends where you find it. Let's look RoomRes. I have actually found amazing deals for Universal sometimes on RoomRes. Universal Hard Rock, November 8th to 13th. Two adults, two kids. That 9:30 a night makes it just look so expensive. I mean, I guess it is. All right, so not less money here either, right? So I would price compare. But either way, maybe I'm putting together, they're gonna do this trip. Now I am gonna add their tickets in. They want to do Universal and then they want to go and do um maybe they want to go to Kennedy Space Center. Okay. I just want tickets. I'd probably actually be better off to start the search over because then it'll put everything in. Search. Instead of me adding it piece by piece. All right, so while that's loading, oh, it loaded faster than I thought. And they may not need to do Hard Rock. Let me just see if the others are less. Portofino Bay, 44225343. That's interesting that Hard Rock is the least expensive. It's usually the most. All right, so now we have their tickets. 3 park, 4 day park to park plus. So this is giving them the water park, the 3 park. It does have cancel for any reason. So typically when I do Universal alone, I don't add additional trip protection because they can cancel up to or postpone their trip up to the day before. They can postpone the trip without even using this cancel for any reason up to the day before. If they cancel, they just lose the $59 up till the day before. And when I had to do this for somebody before, they said really even up until the day of, we would probably still give all the money back. So that is good to know. So I don't typically add the additional like travel protection, and Universal I don't think actually has the same travel protection plus that the other does. All right, so this is giving them the super shuttle round trip, but they don't need round trip if they're going somewhere else. But yeah, see, it doesn't offer that same blue box that you have with FunJet and stuff like that. So it doesn't have that. Um, let's edit this. And instead of round trip, we'll just do one way. Though, you know what? I am going to keep round trip because they'll go back to the airport to pick up a rental car. That's what we'll do. All right. So if we look, their total cost of their trip is 7,244, and the total commission is 1,002. That's for just this portion of the trip. All right. So now let's say, and I am going to check Evo Plus too. Why not? They're going to go to Port Canaveral, and they're going to go from the 13th to the 15th because they're going to get on a, maybe they have a cruise that day, right? Two adults, two children, or maybe they're just doing a quick little trip there. Maybe we'll do till Sunday. I'm going to change it. 13 to the 16. Let's not pretend they're going on a cruise. They just want to go explore that area. So when I put this together, sold out. Well, that's disappointing. All right, home. I use RoomRes a lot for standalone hotels. I'm gonna look Cocoa Beach because sometimes Port Canaveral doesn't show up on here, and I'm not sure why. The 13th to the 16th. Two kids. And there's tons to do in this area, right? So they can go to the Kennedy Space Center because they one of their kids just loves space, maybe, right? So let's see. This is a great location, the Westgate. It's got, this fun pool, um, all kinds of things. Now, this one also I actually talked to the business development manager when I was at my fam trip the other week. Amazing services, and they will arrange for the clients. They won't, I mean, this one should probably do a rental car because they're going to do stuff in the area, but they will arrange for the clients an airport transfer round trip for like $80 per person, which is not bad at all. They'll do it if somebody's going on a cruise. It'll be airport to hotel, hotel to cruise port back to the airport, or cruise port back to the hotel and then the airport if they're staying afterwards. And it's a nice, fun beach hotel for them to take the kids to. So they got the lazy river, and there are lots of locations. All right, so let's see. They did not need an ADA room. Let's look at what a one-bedroom queen suite is. I mean, that's only $50 more. I'm gonna look up the hotel we're at. I do typically check hotel sites directly to check what that bedding actually is. And those were the total costs. That wasn't like by night. That was the total cost. Let's see. It was a one bedroom. See, none of these actually say one bedroom queen suite, does it? Deluxe room, ADA queen, queen. All right, so my guess is it's going to be the one that says queen suite. King suite, two queen suite. All right, let's see. Two queen suite, one bedroom suite with a sleeper sofa, wet bar, sink in the living room, and bedroom with two queen beds, separate bedroom with private balcony. So, you know, two things are going on here with little kids. They could put them in that room while they stay up in the living area, right? Or those kids can sleep on if they did the king suite, those kids could sleep on the sofa and then the parents have their own room. So for an upgrade, that's not, I mean, the difference in price is $56. We've got we've got flexible cancellation. We're gonna go with that one. All right. It's not huge commission because it's a cheap, that's a fairly inexpensive booking for 3 nights, right? So now what I would probably do, because now, oh, here's what I'm gonna do actually. I'm going to Mr. Guest one because I want to show you you can add a I'm gonna pretend they're all their last name is one. Right? Whatever. This isn't a real booking. I want to show you that you can, oh, guest name should be unique. All right, Bob, Susie. It's a fake booking. Now, we've got this. We can add another product in here. You can add transfers. Now, I wouldn't for this because it's an hour from the hotel, but I can add another product and add a rental car. Pickup location's going to be Orlando Airport, and they're going to pick it up on November 13th. Let's say they're going to pick it up at noon. Continue. I'm just going to pick a name, an age. And they're going to drop it off the 16th. We're going to say noon because then it's a 24-hour period. And again, do I always book rental cars through RoomRes? No. But if I'm already doing something else, I definitely can, right? We do have vehicle size. Is that the whole price? That's a really good price if that's the price. Maybe they want a small SUV. And we sometimes can add things like this one is not showing it. Sometimes you can add like extras. Let's see. Sometimes you can you can add like a car seat. No rental cars. All right, let me take off my thing. All right. I mean, they got little ones, but they might have a lot of luggage, so I like to try to give them. This is a decent car, automatic. Book now. Is that really $166 for 3 days? That's a really good price. Look at that. For a small SUV, that's a great price. And again, yeah, Bob one. Let's just leave it there. Oops. Well, that's weird. Why does it have... I swear I can type. You can add an additional driver. Okay. We're just going to put me for everything right now because this is not a real booking. So now we have both the hotel and the rental car. We can try here to add an attraction. I think you can book rental car only here. Yes. I don't, when I do, the two ends or one end? Kennedy, I think it's two. A lot of times I will search when I do a rental car for something like, um, enterprise rental car travel agent portal. Sometimes I'll just book direct through there. I've also done rental cars through Expedia Tap. Why is it not coming out? Do I have to do a destination instead? Titusville. Why won't you give me activities? Cape Canaveral. And it may not have it. I don't typically book a ton of activities through here, so no big deal. Here's what I do. I have this already. I'm going to cancel out of this and just go backwards. I'm going to go to Viator. Remember, I don't have to put it all together on one thing. It may seem like it's easier, but it's not when you're fighting to find what you need, right? Start booking. All right, they want to go Kennedy Space Center. No, they don't need transport. Because they're going to have a rental car. November 14th. All right. Here we are, Kennedy Space Center. They don't need the ones with the transportation. They don't need group tours. Those are all ones that include other things, right? So now what I can do is I can put this together. Oh, that's a little discount too. They're going to go on the 14th. 2 adults, 2 kids, apply. Then it gives me options. We do not need a 2-day ticket. They just need one. What does that stand for? That's some kind of membership if you have it. They do have the option for reserve now, pay later, or I can share the link with my client. But here we go. Ready? Add to curated list. Make a list. This is going to be my training, Universal, and Cape Canaveral. Right? Create wish list. Save. Now, let's say we're now in Orlando. So I just saved that. I now have it, right? See if that one's on there. It might not be. All right, but look, they want to do the Brevard County tours, dolphin and manatee tours, right? They're going to have a car. They can get to these places. Except it's not available on the weekends. So maybe we switch the day of Kennedy Space Center, right? It doesn't have to be that day. Kennedy Space Center is open on the weekends. But let's just check if it's an evening something. Oh, that's seniors, not children. No. So they're not going to do it the day they drive there. But we could just change the day of the other one, right? And now I can click add to curated list, training, because that didn't save the date. You do have to come down here and click save, or it won't save it. So if I look, I now have 2 things here. And I can share this whole list with the client so that they have all the activities. All right, let's see what else we have. Cocoa Beach. And maybe they're not going to do all of them, but I'm coming up with multiple options for them. Now, that's probably not good with the little ones. Sunset tour, a city pass that includes the Kennedy Space Center. This would actually be super cool, but they're not. They've got little small children. So, but looking what's available for them to do in that area, right? There's a lot of kayaking tours in the area, as you can see. Oh, look at that little manatee. So, but are we getting the idea of how we could use multiple things to put things together for our clients in the Orlando area? Again, as I said, most popular is going to be Universal and Disney together. But in general, multiple destination, we want to get out of our head that we have to make it all, the package has to be booked on one place, right? We can put together a package. The client doesn't need to know all the different ways we did this. They're just going to see the final product, right? But I use Viator a lot to add on to what they're doing. But questions, hopefully this was helpful. And I don't know if anyone's watching on Facebook to see if there's questions there. Any questions? You can unmute, you can type in the chat, whatever is um, most comfortable for you if you have questions. Oops. And if you are watching later and come up with questions, you're watching the recording after the fact, feel free to put questions in the comments too. Was this helpful? Does it make it seem less daunting to put things together in the Orlando area, I hope? Oh, good. Perfect. All right, before we close out, any questions? And I mean, it doesn't necessarily take a lot of time once you're familiar with all of the websites. I mean, I could absolutely have that whole trip together in less than the hour of this training. But it takes me longer to do things while I'm explaining it and showing you different ways too. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the sites, everything takes longer. That's why I also encourage new agents or newer agents, just play with the vendors, even if you don't have anything to currently book. You can play with the vendors to make a travel ad because the more you're familiar with the vendors, when you have to use them to book something, the easier it's going to be and the less time it's going to take you. You can't accidentally book something that you're going to be financially responsible for unless you accidentally put your credit card in. So as long as you don't do that, you're good. Even if it's a trip that you can hold for 24 hours or 3 days, if you didn't have to put a card in, it's just going to cancel if you don't pay the deposit by the deadline. And even room res, you can, if it's booked without a credit card, you're good. Like you can get all the way to the booking stage and then just cancel it. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm glad it was helpful. I know it can feel daunting to try to put all of that together. So I'm glad you were able to join me.